hope everyone is doing well. I thought I would just hop on here to show a quick tutorial of how I made these paint overlays. This is an example of what I started with, and made a new layer. And I just, made it 16 by 12, 300 resolution, RGB color, 8-bit. I think I'll make it a white background, and color profile sRGB, and create. The next thing I did was made a separate layer to put the paint on. So what I did was I found online, if you go to a website called Brush Easy, there's tons of free brushes that you can download. I just typed in paintbrushes and look at how many brushes there are. Now, these free brushes, if you are just using them for personal use, it's totally okay to download them for free. If you are going to use them for anything else, you do need to purchase an extended license. So just like this one here as well. So this is the canvas texture that I used, and I found this one at the Adobe stock. As the standard license for personal use is okay to use. So make sure you're reading the licenses and how you can use them and everything like that. So once you download your brushes, you can upload them into your brush palette. And how you do that is you go to right here and import brushes. Find them in the folder and then import them into your palette here. As you can see, I have tons and tons of brushes, but here are my paintbrushes here. I'm going to pick a paintbrush. Let's make a splashy one. That would be fun. So you don't want to just brush it on like this, because it looks repetitive, right? Like it all looks the same. So we'll just delete that. And I'll show you how to change up your brush. So if you go next to your brush, there's this little folder looking thing here. Click on that and it'll bring up your brush settings, which if you play with, you can change. So I'm just going to show you here. You can rotate your brush around to be different angles that way. But what I like to do is I like to go in the shape dynamics, and it's got your size jitter, your angle jitter, your roundness jitter here. So you go into the angle jitter, it's going to automatically change the angle of your brush. Size jitter will change different sizes here and there. So I just do that. You can scatter them, make them further apart, going into scatter. So I think I'm just going to start there. What I did before was I started at 20% and just painted it on. See, you can see it just changing shape and size and all that fun stuff. So at 20%, I've got that. I'm going to pick a different brush for my next layer. Something like this. And we'll do the same thing by going into the brush settings and changing the size jitter a little bit, angle jitter, and we'll scatter it just slightly. And I'm going to change this layer to be 50%. And I'll just paint that on. And you can see it's just making it look way different. Knowing that trick about the brush settings is awesome for brushes. It does wonderful things for, like, if you wanted to paint on bubbles but not have all the bubbles look the same or anything like that. It's a lot of fun to play with. Again, I'm going to make another layer. You hit the little plus button here, it'll make a new layer. I'm going to pick a different brush again. let's do more of a rounded brush. Maybe this one. This one will be good. Okay, so I don't know if I'm really gonna change this one too much, but maybe a little bit. Angle, jitter. Yeah, probably about there. Okay, so I don't want to change it too much because I want it to be fairly, I'm going to have it at 100% this time. Because I want my center to be really black, I'm going to make my brush quite big and just paint it on slowly. You know what, I'm going to go back to, maybe let's just start over again here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, so now that I've got those, I'm going to group these. So I'm going to select them all and hit Control G, and it'll group them. I'm going to call this paint layer. Then underneath it, I'm going to make a new color layer. So if you go to your adjustments and you hit solid color, I'm just going to pick kind of like an off-white color, which would look like a real canvas. Once you're done this, you want to place in your canvas texture. You can easily just duplicate that texture and put it into a new layer on this, or you can turn it into a pattern, which is what I did. And I'm just going to place my pattern. So once you have it made as a pattern, you select pattern and you find your made pattern here in the patterns palette. You can adjust the size as well. I think I had mine at about 400. Yeah, that looks about right size. And I'm just going to put this down to 50%. Oh, and I also made it an overlay. That's what it was. All right, so once you have, I'm actually going to put the color into this folder here. Control G. Oh, just drag it up. There we go. There. So I want it to be in that same layer. Okay, so I'm going to make one more new layer. And this is what I'm going to place my image on, is this layer here. So once you do that, when you want to place your embedded image, you just go to File, Place Embedded, and it'll bring up a folder. So I'm just going to randomly pick one of these. And it's underneath the paint layer. So you're going to need to change your blending mode of your paint layer to screen. Hit Control T on your picture layer. Come on, Control T. Sometimes it doesn't want to pick it. There we go. All right. And you just, you want to make sure this is clipped down so that you're not stretching out your picture. And hit OK. And then once you have your pattern, it might be a little strong on the person's face, so I tend to paint that off at about 50%. There you go. You have your own homemade paint layer.